Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop for 10 more minutes of action-packed thunderchief building action. Okay, I got all that sanded. See that? Now that is just exactly flush with the top of that tape. I can just barely feel it. That's perfect. Okay. Then we come in here with our needle. I found this needle works the best. Taking this skinny old tape out, because really all you gotta do is stick it in there and follow the contour, or follow your little trench you just made. And of course it sticks better now than when you're just putting it on. And I just sanded all this with 400 grit paper. Then when I'm done pulling all this tape out, I'll just lightly sand it with 800, just to get, if there is any little ridges right there, that'll get them off. We don't want any ridges. Gotta get my spectacles. No, I never needed glasses. Everyone in my family, my mother, my father, my sisters, my wife, my kids, all of them had to wear glasses. And about a year ago, I finally had to get them, just for reading and close-up stuff. I can still see them jets flying around just fine without them. And once we get all this dug out, this is kind of the time-consuming step. But to get what we want, it's what we gotta do. See that? Now that little bit of black you still see in there is my pencil mark. You know, when I drew on the plane. That I taped over the top of. These lines are tiny. You gotta be careful when you're painting. But if you're painting so much, if you're painting so heavy that it's going to fill up these panel lines, you're painting wrong. You know what I mean? Your paint should never be that thick and heavy. That's why body guys that paint cars don't make good airplane painters, because they spray way too much paint. You know, sure, they can paint a car good, but when it comes to painting an airplane, they squirt too much paint. And if you try and do this with an X-Acto, you end up digging and messing up your panel lines a little bit. I found if you take a needle, you can just follow that trench, Pop it right out. Some of these long ones, once you get it started, you can just pull. These little short things, it's a bunch of little pieces of tape. It's hard to do that with. And you end up messing up your edge, because we want to keep them edges nice and clean and not all chipped up. You'd be surprised how them little chips will show up on a paint job. You guys see that? Bam! Paint line showed up pretty good on the camera this time. Shut the door and cut the glare down. And a couple people tell me, man, why don't you open the door and let some light in? You know, that actually makes it harder to see the plane. I've tried it, and it's too much glare. You know, unless you take the plane outside. Chair out here. We'll be doing this in some comfort. That's some skinny old tape, man. I was kind of intimidated by it at first because it was so skinny. Really wasn't too bad though. You know, it didn't want to stick as good as the wider stuff because of the fact that it's skinnier. You know, there's not as much glue surface there. But I found if you just stop at 220, if you try to make it too slick, it ain't gonna stick. But 220 worked pretty good. And then wash it with Windex. You know, make sure you get all the dust off of it. You know, all your sand and dust. And then it stuck pretty good. I only had a couple small places where I had issues. Well, this is one of the harder places right here. I mean, the rest of it's all pretty straight. So back there on that tail piece, man, that took me almost all day yesterday to get that tail cone done. Me and Dad had pretty much the plane done in one day, but that tail cone was pretty much took me all day. There's a lot of stuff on that tail cone. But having them prints really helped out. Sounds like the Bobo wife is home. I'm talking into making me some coffee. Still pretty early. Bam! What you guys think of that? See, I mean, the long ones pull out a little easier. These I can't pull out yet because I ain't got that bottom sanded.